Okay.
You have any idea how many people are moving to Chattanooga or to Tennessee every year?
No, I don't.
It's thousands. I know that.
Well, I know there's a bunch in Nashville, but anyway, we're live, and we're live. It's with Brian and Bill.
Bill Osborne,
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's a realtor broker, right? EXP, right? EXP
right.
Premier Group.
Let's make sure our sound is on.
Next time, have all this squared away, Brian. Okay, so
is there film in this camera?
That's a good one. So I got my pad of paper here, a pen. I got an iPhone. I'm going to lay it on the floor here. So Brian, what do you think's going on in the overall real estate market in Chattanooga? Are things slowing down? What's the pricing doing? What's going on right now, man? Because you've been around forever in this area.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm 59 years old, so 59 years at least. So 40% decrease in November of this year, a number of sales, number of closing of residential home sales in this year as compared to 2021.
Okay.
So it's definitely slowing down. What is not slowing down and what we're not seeing, on a local level is we're not seeing values drop, right? I think there's maybe I haven't looked specifically into numbers of, I think the home average sales price is probably lower.
Yeah.
But that's because more people are buying less expensive homes. But the values of the homes themselves, the price per square foot for what you could buy this year compared to last year is not going down.
Okay. Well, why do you think it's not going down, man? I mean, in California, like where I came from, the Sacramento area, aren't those prices going down? You talk to people out there, right?
Yes.
In a lot of areas, they're starting to go down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And because the inventory levels have increased, where here the inventory levels of what's for sale is going down. And so it's keeping pressure up. Even though the sales have dropped, so is the inventory. And so I just listed a home out in Ottawa, and we had it under contract in a week. And
how far is Ottawa out of the general Chattanooga City proper? What are we? How many miles roughly?
Probably 20 miles. But I mean, on a commute, it's like a 45-minute commute with traffic.
Okay.
Without traffic, it's not that long, but it's probably 20 miles out.
Okay.
I mean, Ottawa is a pretty big zip code geographically.
Okay. Right. So, interesting. So the prices aren't like collapsing here.
Not at all.
Not at all. They're just taking a little while longer to sell.
Yep. You got to pressure wash your house. You got to clean it up. You can't be smelling. And so you got to clean it up a little bit, get your underwear off the floor, and just don't expect 20 offers flying in the first day.
Yeah, in NorCal, we used to say, put in some fresh bark, right, on the outside. And
yes.
Do what you got to do, get the lawn green again, all that stuff. But out here, the lawns pretty much stay green, I mean, it rains out here. See, I'm from Sacramento area. I met Brian. I actually met Brian. He was in my neighborhood. It's called Grandview, right? It's a really nice neighborhood, 5-acre to 20-acre parcels. And Brian was showing some property to a couple ladies there, and I met him. And he's definitely a smart guy. He let me, because I've been in biz dev forever, and he let me sit there and help him educate those two ladies a little bit on what was going on in Grandview, right?
Yeah.
And so
take a look at something.
Yeah.
Keep on talking.
Yeah. So some of the areas, I like that better, man. Some of the areas, all right, let's talk about price points, man, right? So I live on Signal. Okay.
Yep.
What are some of the most expensive homes up on? What if I'm a biz dev guy? I've made a lot of money. I'm still making money, right? My company's based in New York, but I want to move to the Chattanooga area, okay? Because I've heard about Chattanooga.
All right. Being the best cameraman here. Sorry.
You're doing really good, man. You're doing really good. So, we need more of you, though, Brian. We need more of you.
I want to zoom in on you. You handsome devil.
I can't argue that point. All right. Did you notice the
just-
shave down goatee? Hey,
I just want to get a little
man,
mix up here with the
All right.
camera work.
look at this nice background too. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, I mean that was me going back to Ace Hardware with, is it glue or is it tape? Is it?
I don't know, man. As long as it doesn't fall on us. So here we go. Here we go. Brian, are you listening to me now?
I'm listening to
All
you.
right.
Okay, yeah.
So let's say I'm one of these people and I'm coming out of Chicago or somewhere, right? How much, if I want to buy a $3 million home on what's called Signal Mountain, right? Do they have $3 million homes up there?
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
What area would that be in?
Well, you probably got some brow view, and you've got maybe a little bit of land as well. There's a couple of different properties. I mean, one, you're going to have some acreage properties that may have like a gentleman's farm,
Okay,
and have a larger home, and you probably got a barn and several. You may have 2 homes, right, and some acreage. And
what are you talking? 10 acres, roughly, on something like that?
yeah, it really just depends on the improvement. Look, there's homes that are really grand and spectacular, maybe 14,000 square feet.
Okay.
It's very different than something that's got acreage and it's a little more ATV and country and a horse.
Okay.
But here in Chattanooga, brow property, meaning you have a view of the valley floor below,
Okay.
that's where a lot of value is driven. We've got lots in Lookout Valley or Raccoon Mountain, Etna Mountain for 800,000. So that's prime real estate there.
So, and then you've got areas. So we're going from Signal Mountain, right? Like I said, which is where I live up there.
Right. That's where I grew up.
And yeah, you grew up on Signal. And then as we come down off the mountain, because we have a couple different mountains now, we have Lookout Mountain, right?
One of the highest Tennessee socioeconomic demographics, Lookout Mountain.
All right. And are some of those homes, are there less homes up there? They're older homes, they're more stately homes. Like, what is that like up there in general? If somebody's got some money and they wanted to, why would they want to live up there maybe instead of Signal Mountain?
Yeah, Lookout, we used to say growing up here, Lookout Mountain has the business owners. The managers lived on Signal Mountain.
Okay.
And there's more rooftops on Signal. It's a larger, especially in Tennessee. Now, here's the other thing, right? We're next to 2 states. And so Lookout Mountain is actually Lookout Mountain, Georgia, and then Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. So you've got an option, a lookout, whether or not you want the state income tax or not, depending on which zip code you live in. So Signal Mountain, only Tennessee, and it has the smallest national park in the whole system, Signal Point. And Lookout Mountain, and its name, Signal and Lookout, looking towards Signal for those signals during the Civil War. That's the rural route. I mean, the postal route was about 6,000 homes, and now those home numbers are growing in the last few years. You're part of that experience. As you go out Sequatchie, there's a lot more rooftops.
Yeah.
So on Walden's Ridge, Signal Mountain.
As an example, my home was built in 2005.
Okay.
Right. And that neighborhood's pretty much developed now completely, mostly. The lots are all sold. So if you were going to move here from California or Chicago, the Chicago area, or wherever, New York,
right,
you could come out here and you could basically get a decent home in a decent neighborhood for 300,000, maybe 350,000 up,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, and
300,000 to 400,000 is kind of your generic 2,000 square foot 3-2. That's smells good in a decent neighborhood, and so, and then 500,000 and up. I mean, roughly. People are moving here from California. I mean, they get so much more for their money.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're talking about $150 to $250 a square foot per home, and a really fancy pants $3 million home that Dexter White could build you would be maybe $350 a square foot.
Okay, Dexter White's a builder.
He's an
Okay.
excellent builder here.
All right.
And so, but we have some national builders that just moved in a few years ago. But mostly you have regional builders. GT Issa, Gus Issa, and James Pratt are two regional, I call them kind of regional builders that build in the small burbs all around.
Well, and to give an example, like coming from where I came from, NorCal, right, Northern California, they would build huge communities. All right, hundreds of homes. All right.
Right.
And what I've seen out here, I'm not the expert, but just driving around, what I've seen out here is you can have like 5 homes being built, 15 homes being built,
Right.
maybe up to 30 homes being built. That's what I see a lot of. Is that fairly accurate? Like
it's very accurate. And if you've got a large piece of land, like there's developers that have been developing for years. Hamilton on Hunter is a great example of that. Julian Bell, John Bell, the Bell family in their second generation developed that, and over the course of 4 years has grown to probably over 2,000 homes. But it's taken decades to get there. But you can absolutely, it may take you from the airport where our current location is to drive to exit 11 may take you 15 minutes. It's going to take you another 15 minutes just to get up into the neighborhood and wind around in these hills to find your home.
You know, I know somebody I used to work with. You know, I'm in the radio business, as you know, radio personality, live and local with Bill Osborne here in Chattanooga. But the point is, and I remember he said, "I'll never live on the mountain again. I burned out more brakes going down Lookout Mountain," right? And I never thought of that, right? And then I was wondering why my truck brakes, that nice Ford F-150 I got, they're kind of, a little bit like that.
Yeah, they need to turn those rotors.
Yeah, and they turn the rotors, and the guy goes, "Well, I got good news and bad news, Bill." He goes, "Where do you live? Signal?" I mean, the guy knew. I go, "Yeah, I live way up on the top." And he goes, "We're going to have to place the rotors the next time, but you'll get away with it this time." And so he put new brakes on. But what I'm saying is, it's the funny things you don't think about, man. When you just don't think about it, right? But here's my experience coming here. One is I got to tell you people out there, I have made more friends and connections here in the greater Chattanooga area than I ever had in Sacramento. And I grew up there, lived there my whole life, except 4 years in the Navy. I mean, meeting people like you, Brian, like how many different things have we interacted on? Like whether it's, you came on the radio, you do some radio once in a while right? We've traded a lot of information back and forth.
And you drove my sorry rear end home after I got my teeth pulled out. Dr. John Spann, thanks. Shout out to Dr. John Spann. He's an awesome surgeon.
Way to go, Dr. John Spann.
But it put me to sleep, and you took my sleepy rear end home, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. But my point is, I got to tell you, it's like, the Southern hospitality thing, thing, right?
Yeah.
It's live and well. I remember when I first moved here, I didn't know you at all then, right? I mean, I had met you for 3 years after we moved here or whatever. And even the gal at the country club, because the realtor at the time took me to the country club to do the lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was looking at homes, the girl looked like she had done some meth in her lifetime. All right. But the point is, she was even like, "Yes, sir. No, sir. How you doing, sir?" You know what I'm saying, bro? And like, I felt kind of bad for her, but I felt good for her because she had turned her life around. Okay. Yeah. My point is, even a woman coming from that situation, that Southern hospitality was there. And I had to make an example because that's like one extreme, man. All right. But what I'm saying is, and the deal coming from California, right? Oh God, this California guy is going to ruin our state. He's going to vote left. And
we'll let you come here, but believe your politics at home.
That's right. But the funny thing is, when I got here, just real quick, when I got here, we locked up. When I got here, it was,
I don't know.
We can edit it.
I don't know what happened here.
I wonder what screen it's on.
We may be live across the airwaves.
We could still be live.
Okay, maybe I need to update my Apple computer. Oh, let's see. Did I do something with the mouse?
Can we find where the actual screen is?
Oh,
There it
we go.
is. Were we still going?
I think we're still going.
We're still going.
It's still going.
All right. Look at that, man. You know, hey, that's another. I'm gonna tell you something else. All right. That's another thing about Tennessee. We don't freak out. All right. We just keep going. So anyway, what I'm getting at is nobody really gave me a lot of guff about that. The only time was when I went to go in a gun store and them guys that had been in Afghanistan, right, and actually had taken out some terrorists, they were a little tough on me. But everybody else was really cool with me, man. And so what you get when you move here, the good news is, and then we're going to talk about some real estate again, all right?
Okay.
But the good news is you really are going to meet a lot of tremendous people. The hospitality of ICE, almost everybody I've met, I've had no problems here. I mean, no problems. Boy, if you want a nice restaurant to eat at, or you want to go out and get some food, that's a big deal here, huh?
Yeah. Oh, we got some great food.
You got some great food, right?
Yeah.
My wife has told me that the women here in the South like to eat. Is that true?
We all like to eat. What are you kidding me? It's women or men.
Well,
We
I'm
got
just
us
saying.
barbecue, fried okra, and some beans and ham hock. Come on.
So Chattanooga, all right.
We got the Cornbread Festival for a reason.
What's going on?
We make skillets here. You know that?
You make a skillet? Oh, you
Lodge.
make
Lodge.
Yeah.
Has the Cornbread Festival every year in Jasper.
Well, now don't get me going, because in California you can't really make anything anymore. All right, so so that's another thing out here. The velocity of the dollar. You know how often the dollar turns from one hand to the next in the economy. People out here do like 3 or 4 different things. I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. Like some guy will go, "Oh, I can build your fence," or or I can do this, or paint.
Yeah, my
your house.
dad. I mean, he just turned 85, and he will not hire out for anything. To get rid of the hornet's nest, he ordered off Amazon a bee suit and climbed up a ladder and took on a 20-pound hornet's nest, took it out himself. And he's still, working on his tractors and his Komatsu stuff.
Well, now in California, they'd arrest you for elder abuse for letting your father do that. But anyway, I digress. So Chattanooga, let's say somebody, because my initial thought was, and the realtor kind of talked me out of it, when I, bought the house 11 years ago or whatever it was, because we had it rented for years, right? Until we moved out here about 4 years ago. I wanted to buy one of those condos, man, those nice condos that were like right near
the water.
Oh, well, they were on the water or near the water.
Okay.
And, man, they were like $275,000 at the time, right? And I didn't do it. All right, I didn't do it. So if somebody wanted to move into the city of Chattanooga, right?
Yeah. Like $560,000. I sold a really nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo to an executive who recently bought one. Right. He's a CFO. He doesn't even live here. Well, he lives here part-time. Right.
Okay.
He bought the condo and he flies back actually.
How many
to
square
Wisconsin.
feet? Roughly.
Gosh, we're talking probably 11, if that, 1,100.
And it was how much?
560.
Was it in one of those really nice buildings?
Yes.
Where you'd overlook the river?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody
but now the penthouse and some of those larger ones are going to be, 8.5 million.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And then they do have some other ones that are.
He didn't have a river view actually, but he did have a natural park view on the second floor.
So are there some that are maybe not quite in that one area downtown where you can pick them up for maybe 400,000 and they're, 1,500 square feet, or are they all pretty much, they've gone way up?
Great question. But the 1 and 2 bedrooms, you can do that still.
Okay.
And depending on how close you are, the view to the water, there's all those that are in that section from the aquarium around the Chattanooga Whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that down there by the water. There's some units.
Tell us what North Shore is, because see, when people are going to talk to you about, the real estate they want to buy in the greater Chattanooga area.
Yeah.
Tell us about North Shore. Like explain what that is.
It's ritzy hippies, eclectic. and you've got some neat little shops. Tremont Tavern is a great place to get a little bit of music and beer and a great burger. And in Coolidge Park, named after Calvin Coolidge, Medal of Honor winner. It's where the symphony plays July 4th, and we bring candelabras and your picnic and your Coca-Cola and your favorite beverage. And yeah, we have a symphony playing in Chattanooga, downtown at Coolidge Park. There's a big carousel with carved animals that the local artists build, and the kids jump on that. And
so you got the river walks on the other side, but on North Shore, basically what you're getting is people are going in there and remodeling these houses, these, right?
Oh,
these older
bungalows
houses
that are 1930s, 40s.
That's
50s.
What I was driving at.
Yeah. And in those hills over there, yes. And you can buy a really nice $500,000 bungalow in that area. And they're going from anywhere from $4 to $1 million, depending on how large they are. And then you got, of course, Riverview, which is where the Senator Bob Corker lives, and a lot of that's the other demographic. If you don't live on Lookout Mountain, you live in Riverview, Chattanooga Golf and Country Club, shadow of that, and you're right there on the water and gorgeous, and homes are. There's where you can easily.
Is that across from the boathouse?
$2 to $4 million. That's correct.
That's those condominium townhouses.
Those condominium townhouses that's Heritage Landing.
Okay.
And then just beyond that, to the right and behind it is Riverview.
A 2,000 square foot one, and what was the one you just said? The Landing?
Heritage Landing. I sold the latest one I just sold was a 3-2 with all the bedrooms upstairs, and we sold it for $500,000.
Okay.
Had a 2-car garage, and not on the water, not of a view.
You said the master was upstairs?
Master was upstairs.
Okay.
Yes, correct. Which is rare a little bit. A lot of those have the masters down, but when we say the owner's suite now, that's, if you're from California, I'm surprised you even said master. And that's kind of I'm not just sure. Maybe YouTube might ban me for saying that.
Oh, saying master?
Yeah.
Yeah, that very well could happen. Yeah, that very well could happen. YouTube. So, my goodness, we've covered a few areas. Is it typical, like everywhere else, the farther out you get from Chattanooga, like let's say you got to drive, 30 minutes, 40 minutes outside of Chattanooga, the prices come down? That's how it was in Sacramento.
It is generally, yes. And although you start going, different little areas have different pockets. Georgetown, Collegedale has a university out there, the Southern Adventist Southern University, and Lee College in Cleveland. And there's little pockets where there's some fancy pants homes. Even in Ottawa, you've got some really nice homes down there in the square, Cambridge Square. And so there's pockets that, even out in more what we'd say rural areas, where it does jump up. But yes, you can buy more out in Harrison. Let's take it. And, Birchwood, where the county dump is, you can probably find an acre or two.
Is that where the county dump is?
It is.
I always wondered where that was.
Maybe it's not in your backyard.
No, see up. No, up where
you're in a different county, though. I mean,
I'm in Sequatchie.
Yeah.
Taxes are low, right?
Absolutely, they are.
Do you know there's a few families with kids that are moving in there again, though, in Grandview?
I can believe it.
Because they all want to go to the Hamilton County schools, right? Basically.
But you can afford it. You can afford a private school in Hamilton County with your tax base. It's so low.
Oh, in Sequatchie. Oh, yeah. So you take the savings of what, $3,000 a year, basically, or whatever it is, right, for taxes?
Yeah.
Depending on the value of the house.
Right.
Look at
that.
That's why he's a realtor. And
homeschool, or take your kids to a private school. We got a lot of great private schools here.
Yeah, we do. There's a bunch of churches out here, man.
And a lot of homeschools.
There's a bunch of churches.
And homeschool networks that actually have been their, places where they take their kids and have other classes like Greek and Hebrew and they teach different.
You mean in different people's houses, or?
No. There's a place in East Brainerd. It's actually a center where different teachers teach courses that the parents may feel, like, oh, okay, yeah, little Johnny needs to understand about whatever it is. Maybe
and that's
have
considered
a lab,
homeschool,
a chemistry lab, but in other words, it's a supplement to homeschool.
Oh, okay,
right.
All right.
So it's Hilgers Learning Center, I think is what it's called. And so they have supplemental classes
Sure.
to your homeschool efforts.
So like I maybe mom, I'm at home, I'm teaching the kids, I'm homeschooling, but like you just said, I want to get them a little more into in-depth study on something.
Yeah, if they want to do a language and you
Yeah.
don't happen to speak, Greek or whatever they want to learn. I mean,
yeah. So would you buy a house right now in this real estate market?
It would depend on my situation, Bill. It would just depend on my situation. Look, I have no problem because I've seen everything from 18% interest rates, from the late 70s and 80s to the 7% today. But I do believe if you don't have to purchase right now and you don't need to, I do think that we're coming into a 2-year recession period, and that you might be able to pick up a little better deal in a year and a half than you can get today, and especially in this particular market. Now, I think it's a better time if you live in Chattanooga to sell.
Mm-hmm. Tell me why.
Because the values are still great. The inventory is going down. I just listed a home that had really not been updated since 2006, and I got full price for it.
Yeah.
And so the family that's living in Florida is thrilled. They're cashing out and getting a bunch of equity. So, and the buyer is thrilled. They're doing a VA loan, 100% deal. So again, if you're coming from California, absolutely buy here because it's still relatively inexpensive, and lenders are getting creative. They're doing 2-1 buy downs.
Mm-hmm.
A seller may actually pay you a little bit to do a 5% 1 year, 6% next year, and it goes into 7, and then you could probably refi. Every recession since the 60s has only lasted 1 to 3 years.
Right.
Generally, it's 2 years time period, and then we come back. So, the idea with the lender situation, the mortgage companies are saying, hey, within 2 years you can refi. So go ahead and sink in at 7, but pick up 5 and 6 is a 2-1 buy down.
You personally, if you were going to buy a home valued at around $800,000 to $1 million in the greater Chattanooga area, what neighborhood would you buy in?
Well, I mean, me personally, I've got a 112-pound yellow lab, and I would like your neighborhood, actually, honestly. Their
Grandview?
I would, yeah, because our kids are out of school. My folks and my wife's mom lives in Red Bank and are just on the edge of, she lives in Red Bank, and my parents live on Signal. So Grandview would actually be a great place, one for my lab to run around, and the cheaper taxes. And if it wasn't for my job right now, I put about 40,000 miles in my car every year. I mean, I'm driving all over the place. It's not where I live right now in Black Creek at Lookout Valley is more central to what I do currently.
Did I ever charge you for those chiggers?
When
you go into
the woods, man, I got the chiggers bad, and I walked back there. And
did they bite you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you get the little bumps?
So now you're going to scare all the Californians listening to this because they've never seen a bug.
Well,
a bug? What's a bug?
Do I take a chigger, a bug, right? Or do I get shot and robbed? I mean, I'll take the chiggers. You know what I mean? So, all right, man. Let's see now. What else do people need to know about the real estate market in Chattanooga currently? Is there anything else you can think of that they need to be thinking about? Like, for one thing, well, what do you think? I was going to say they better get the right realtor. Seriously, they better get the right realtor.
I mean, there's, different experiences for different folks. I've been doing it a minute, but I'm a son of brokers. I mentioned my parents. Both my parents are brokers. My brother's a broker.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing it a minute. I mean, a few decades. So, school zones matter here for values.
Okay.
Water matters. We're a temperate rainforest. And so where you buy FEMA flood zones and just how the owner, if you used property, has taken care of how the water and runoff is, then that's important. I mean, you got to pay attention to water on your property. People don't have, I mean, we are humid. We have a lot of rainfall. And so we got a lot of sunshine, but we also get rain. When it rains, it rains. So you got to take care of that. So pay attention to those things, mold, mildew, and bugs and things that we.
That's a good point, because you know what, I hadn't really considered that. You know how crawl space, right?
Yes.
So the house is on a raised foundation. And I mean, man, like 90% of the houses out in California that aren't in the mountains or in the higher parts of the state, they are on slab foundations. All right.
Yeah.
Not raised foundation. Now, if they're old, they are, because, well, they'll have basements, and yeah, they are on raised foundations, but they really hit the slabs heavy in the early 70s. Okay. So when I got out here, I put this is a little tip for anybody that's moving out here. I put the commercial grade dehumidifier under the house, and the dehumidifiers in the house. And here's a little tip. You want that crawl space humidity to be very similar to the level of humidity in your house. And one of the main reasons for that is there's a lot of beautiful homes in this area. And if you have real hardwood floors, which I do, they will cup.
Yes.
They will cup.
Humidity will get to them.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, from a guy that moved from a low humidity area in Northern California, Sacramento area, I have had, and I mean this, I have had no regrets about moving to the Chattanooga area. None. And my wife is absolutely in love with where we live. And I've told you a few times, I picked the perfect house. I really messed up. All right. Because I'm never getting her out of there. I'm just never getting her out of there. Okay. And I told you that she'll eventually do it. But the point is, when we go to scale down, right, which we all do, get out of the 3,000 square foot house and the 5 acres and all that, I don't know, man. I couldn't have done any better. I just could not have done any better. I'm so happy and I'm so grateful to live here. I got to ask you something, man. Not to swerve into a whole nother topic, but you had COVID pretty bad, didn't you?
I did. I was in the hospital 11 days.
You were in the hospital 11 days, and you're not an old man.
Oh, I'm 59, so it's all relative, right?
But
depending on who's on listening. YouTube has a young, typically a young audience.
But we were talking about gratitude earlier. Yes. We were talking about gratitude, and you weren't overweight. You didn't have diabetes and all that stuff. So, what would you like to say about that? About getting COVID, recovering from it, and did it change you at all, or what were your thoughts?
Well, God is good. I mean, he asked me when I was shuffling to the bathroom one day. I decided I was tired of peeing in the little cup or whatever I was tied to.
Yeah.
And I want to go to the bathroom like a human. And as I stood up and I made my way, I realized maybe that wasn't such a grand idea. I was taking off 20 liters of oxygen mask or whatever I was on.
Yeah.
And I literally heard Jesus ask me, "Do you trust me?" I turned and looked over the window. I had a view of the roof out there, and I was like, "Who said what? What?" And I was kind of gasping for air, and I was a little bit indignant because I'd had cancer the year before, and I'd heard that before.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah, I had lymphoma, and he'd asked me that again. So this is like the second time. I felt like, Peter, when he asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, look, I gotta trust you." In Tennessee, you got a 50-50 option. You get to check a box. You can put on your license plate, "In God we trust," or not. You don't have to put it on there. You can, but you can't. I guess you can't put anything else on there either. But if you trust in Bitcoin or whatever. But anyway, I was like, yeah, I trust you. But I haven't been really pondering that, and to the point I've got a book that I've been talking about because I've been reading it, and it's talking about trust. And I've been really leaning in that for the last couple of years. How much do I really trust God? It's been really chewing on that because there's a reason he keeps asking me that.
Yep.
But I'm really grateful. I'm just grateful to be alive. It's a gift. This day we have together and just talking. I'm honored to be talking to whomever I'm talking to or is listening to this from wherever you are. Just grateful. I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm still pondering, just how much can I really trust God?
And when you said about the license plate deal, right? Where you
Yep.
can put "In God We Trust," right, or
You
not.
can choose. Yeah.
You can choose. Now, I'm going to tell you all something. All right, all you folks from California or New York or wherever you're from, you know what? If you don't like what we say a little bit here and there about the spiritual aspect of things, the man said you have a choice. Okay. And that's what I love about being out here in Tennessee, man, is nobody's pushing anything on you, but nobody's trying to take anything away from you either. So you get freedom when you come out to Tennessee. And I'm telling you, it matters to me because I left an area where they were taking it away and they still are. So we would love to have you check this out. Talk to Brian, right? Brian
me.
Kelly, and see what's going on out here in Chattanooga. The man's got a lot of experience in the real estate industry.
Man, if you want to get into media and do radio, Bill is your man right here. He's set up. So
Yep, it
Bill,
isn't.
yeah.
And like my wife tells me, Bill, you not only have the voice for radio, but you also got the face.
Oh no, that's pretty cruel.
You also got the face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, well, she says I got the face. Anyway. So, but my wife, she's smarter than probably Brian and I put together, and I imagine his wife probably is too. So, anyway, thank you very much for listening, and I think we'll be back tomorrow.
Let's see.
Wow, let's see. Can you see how that turned out?
Yeah.